Hi, everybody, and welcome. We are live on Facebook and live on Webinar Jam. And it's really wonderful and an honor always to be here on the Jane Live 365 Healthy by Choice, where we speak about miracle medicine. And in this time right now, I think we are all looking for miracles, and we're also looking to keep abreast of a very high toxic avalanche of environmental toxins, chemical toxins, food additives, things like asbestos, beauty product toxicity, pharmaceutical toxicity, even stress toxins, allergy toxins, intolerances. So what we're really wanting to do is keep ahead of the game, keep ourselves as clean and detoxified as possible, as well nourished as possible, and to be awake and aware, obviously, of toxins. So today we're going to talk on radiation mainly, and how to prevent it and what it is, first of all, as well, how we resonate, what the human bioresonance is, what the earth resonance is, and then compare it to various toxic radiation levels that we are finding ourselves exposed to. Okay, so I just want to get some slides out so that we can get going, and then just while the other people come through. And I'm just going to get this through. Actually, when I show you how damaging this can all be, you will really be surprised. Just as usual, I just want to get the name of the file again. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, so that's just going to be pulling through. A lot of people have been noticing, sort of weird dizzinesses, giddinesses, and that can happen via infection. It can happen definitely due to any form of toxic parasite, pathogen, bacterial, fungal, yeast type of an organism will also do that. Food additives will do that too, but so will a weird wavelength, a weird frequency, a weird resonance. And we measure the electromagnetic resonance in hertz, all right? Hertzian measurement, Hz. And I just want to start so we got it in place so we can see exactly what I'm talking about, because these slides do explain it beautifully. All right, so if we have a look at that one, I'm just closing the door. And also having my energy drink. All right, so here's all the frequencies. We have frequencies. We have a normal body resonance frequency, and on the quantum device, the QUEX device, we always measure this resonance frequency, and on the quantum it needs to be between 1,000 and 1,500. And if it's above or below that, there are electromagnetic inconsistencies within the body which need to be modified and realigned, because we are electromagnetic first of all, and then if you just visualize us as a battery with two electrodes in a glass, and various chemicals in that liquid that are all critical for charging the battery. So we have electromagnetic field, and we have the chemicals in the glass, in the battery, to keep the battery charged. That's why minerals are so important. It's about the minerals, because then we can get a charge. Okay, and the minerals have all got a frequency and they've all got an electron spin around them. Some of them are positive, some of them are negative. But here we can see the difference. This is a linear wave. It goes up and down, all right, as opposed to a scalar wave, which is our quantum wave, which is a scalar wave, which is doing that. If you remember the north and the south pole of the Earth, and the little magnets spewing out upwards into the North Pole and downwards into the South Pole. So that's our magnetic field. That is a scalar wave, all right? That is not linear. A linear wave, if left, will peter out into nothing. A scalar wave stays. Okay, so the short wavelength will give you, the peaks are very close together. That's the top one. And then a long wavelength will have more stretched out, so a longer wavelength. Now, both are dangerous if they're in the wrong frequency for humans. Let's have a look at the next one. So here you see now from peak to peak, that's how you measure a wavelength. You see, so it'll go down and up. So that's your wavelength. So peak to peak. So here we have 3 hertz. Here we'll have a 6 hertz. And here we'll have a 12 hertz. So as we're increasing in the amount of hertz here, we're increasing in the frequency of the revolution per second. So it's 3 revolutions per second, 6 revolutions per second, 12 per second. All right. So that gives you that. And then this one here is actually quite a special slide too, because here's us, humans, all right? So we are resonating at 10 hertz, all right? The brain itself will go between 8 to 13 hertz, and the brain waves are alpha, beta, delta, lambda. Those are all the wavelengths of the brain. So, and they're very subtle little frequencies, little hertz, small little hertz. And there's the human one there, sitting there, okay? Starting at very long wavelength, which is not the human wavelength. Let's assume this then is the normal human wavelength. And then we've got all sorts of things here. We've got electrical pylons. Look how short that wavelength is. Now imagine that beaming you 24/7. You live near pylons, you live near, electrical wires. That's just really a very, 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 very fast wavelength. That's very freaky. And then so those would be the gamma rays. Now we measure this on the quantum device as well. So we get what we call gamma rays, X-rays we measure, the ultraviolet and the infrared. So they're at the end of the light spectrum. Here's the visible light spectrum. Our normal rainbow colors. This we can see, we can feel. This is healing frequencies for us. So the ultraviolet, too much ultraviolet is not our wavelength, and the infrared is a healing wavelength. That would be like, for example, in my infrared saunas at 14 microns, that is a healing infrared frequency of light, basically, that heals us. So that's sitting there. But we always look at the UV index. That's the ultraviolet index, and that's the dangerous one. And that's where, if there's holes in the ozone, etc., then the ultraviolet rays are coming through. So those are the ones that are going to really damage our skin and cause skin damage. So we've done gamma, X-ray, ultraviolet, infrared, and then we've got the microwaves and the radio waves. All right, so we've got ourselves here. So nothing's too close to us. I mean, these wavelengths are very different to our wavelengths. And this is a long wavelength. This is a very, very short wavelength. All right, so these are there is Wi-Fi and cell phone over here. And you can see what sort of a frequency that is compared to how it should be for us. So when these wrong linear waveforms hit the human body, there's going to be a reaction. And around about the early 1900s, they changed the electromagnetic frequencies of the radio waves and everything around the earth, and a lot of people got really sick, and there was a plague then as well, which was a Spanish flu. So when we humans change the frequency, our electromagnetic frequency, our electricity, how we communicate, our telecommunications, our radio waves, etc., there's bound to be a reaction from the human body. It affects the blood, it causes blood clotting, and it causes the red blood cells to be very sticky and stick together. And when that happens, we don't get enough blood per minute passing the vital organs. We don't therefore get enough oxygen per minute passing through the vital organisms. So there's not enough to the brain, not enough to the heart, the liver, the lungs, the kidneys, etc., the skin. And that starts stress in the body, and it has to adjust itself accordingly to try and detox these wavelengths, because these wavelengths will oxidize the body and cause huge free radicals to circulate in the body, which damage the DNA and the heart and all the rest of the organs. So imagine now when we start talking about gigahertz. Let's just have a look at this last slide I wanted to show you. We've got ionizing and non-ionizing. It's the same sort of a wavelength thing here. It makes no difference. If they're not within the human spectrum, which is around about 10 hertz, the Sherman's resonance 7.83 hertz, it's going to be dangerous. Here's the visible sunlight. So this will be, again, everything's dosage related. It's all about a dosage. Too much sun, you're going to have sunburn, and it's not going to be good. So it's all about how much sunlight you have. We obviously do need it, but then, you know, moving on from there to the left and the right, we start getting the wrong wavelengths coming through. So the sun's rays are there to heal us. They are the healing. That is that visible spectrum that I showed you earlier. Here the pylons are. Here's a power tool. Here's the TV, the radios. There's the mobile phone and the mobile tower, and all these sources. So how do we prevent this? We know now there's this avalanche of frequencies coming at us. I think we've almost got a mini tower within. I'm just trying to think. I had a look at the breakdown of Johannesburg as a city, and it's broken down into hexagon shapes, right? If you go to the town planners of your town and you ask for the town planning book, you'll see that the city is divided up into hexagon shapes, 6-sided hexagons that all stick together. So within each hexagon, right now there could easily be 4 to 6 or even 10 small, partially invisible towers, visible, as I say, invisible, planted, already erected. So imagine people are talking about smart cities where everything is totally connected, interconnected, but it's all the wrong frequency, the wrong linear waveform frequency. That is going to, we will be exposed to that 24/7. If you sleep with your cell phone near you, you imagine that wrong frequency drilling through your brain, your DNA. Every single cell division is damaged by radiation, the wrong radiation, every single cell. And then sometimes the chromosomes get cut off and broken, and then the body will start replicating the shorts, kind of a RNA or DNA sequence as well, and then you get sick as well, because that's also not a good idea. So to prevent all of this, the best and number one and freely available thing to us is earthing, grounding. So you get off bare feet onto the ground. If the ground is damp, that's even better, because why? The earth is negatively charged, the soil is negatively charged, and all the little minerals, calcium, magnesium, potassium, are positively charged. All right. So that's what happens within the soil. The soil is negative, and when we stand on it, it will neutralize all the positively charged wrong wavelength forms. Okay, so that's what the beauty of the earth. And when you're standing on the earth, you'll get some beneficial sun rays, which are on the perfect wavelength for us. And you will be breathing in normal air, which is 1.3 volts. The frequency, the charge of air is 1.3 volts. And remember, last week we spoke about ozone, which is at 2.3 volts, way too high for our body to cope with. The voltage is too high. And if you think about our cell vitality drops, they're sitting at 0.95 of a volt. So that's actually lower than the normal oxygen. It's a gentle little oxygen molecule that comes in and cleans up the oxidization caused by these wrong radiation wavelength frequencies. Too long the wavelength or too short the wavelength. So that oxidizing process is dealt with as if it becomes a free radical by our cell vitality oxymineral chlorine dioxide drops. Because oxygen will go and scavenge all of that. So obviously breathing is very important, because the more normal oxygen we can get in, the more we can detoxify as well. Okay, so this is where we're coming from. Grounding, and then there's certain products that we have in our range that I'm going to speak to you now as well, just so that you've got a nice, as you add into your file, you've got the products that are going to help us. And so the cell vitality oxyminerals are the ones that I'm speaking about now, the ones that I have in my glass here, which I take 8 to 10 times a day, just so you know that. So I'm just feeding myself. I've got a huge pair of extra lungs, like almost angel wings, that I'm using to bring in extra oxygen, because oxygen is going to scavenge the oxidization. I've also got drops in a big saucer that are sort of cascading over while I sleep, and in my consulting rooms as well, to assist with, like, if you like, secondary breathing as well on a 24/7 24-hour basis. And we're spraying also the oxygen gas to keep everything sterile and the energy light and clean. And we just sterilized a COVID room. Somebody asked us, well, how do we sterilize a COVID room? The person had actually died. And, we put 40 of the drops on an open saucer in that room, closed it up for 2-3 hours, opened all the cupboards and things. And we sprayed also the walls, the ceiling, the floors with our disinfectant spray. So the difference in the energies was palpable. You could actually feel the difference. And in fact, if I take our disinfectant spray now and I spray it, the oxygen that comes out, that scavenges a microbial cloud that's around me, full of pathogens and ionic stuff, you can actually feel immediately there's a lift in you and your energy field as well. It's very nice to spray this around somebody who's at hospital, if you can get in. And also, around your bed where you're sleeping, and on your body after a shower as well. Absolutely perfect. And definitely your hands and your face before you leave your vehicle, before you leave your home, when you're out, and also when you come back. just to say. So we don't forget about this. Sorry, I just wanted to get that in because in the next hour I've got another dose coming. But this is how you keep inflammation away, toxicity away, and feeling 100%, feeling human. And this oxygen, remember, will remove anything that has the wrong charge and that is not of human biological nature, including the human genetic material. Okay. And it's measurable on our quantum devices, which are validated, verified with FDA. Okay, so that's very, very important. Oxygen. We also use the almost gold. This is alchemy, very, 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 very high frequency. And that frequency will normalize abnormal wavelengths, waveforms in our body as well. So almost gold is critical. And remember that metals, especially gold, is the highest detox element on the planet. It's also got silver, nickel, and iridium, and palladium, etc. But gold is the biggest detoxifying element on the planet. So it's going to also go, but works differently because the cell vitality oxyminerals are oxidants. They will pull the electron envelope off the toxin, and all the little contents spew out, rendered inactive. It's just too beautiful. Whereas the almost, because of its high frequency, will go and mop up all free radicals. It's almost, you could say, but I hesitate. It's like a super C on supersonic steroids. That's got an almost gold. Well, that's why it's in the foil, because the electrons just escape. All right, so that's very important. So we're wanting to bring as much oxygen into the body so that we can scavenge any oxidation, any free radicals. So the other things that will bring oxygen into the body is the supercell oxygen, which has got a whole range of chlorellas, cordyceps, Siberian ginsengs, turmerics, gotucolas, bacopa, ginkgo, and there's also bee pollen. And these products will enhance the body's ability to use oxygen. What do I mean by that? I can slap an oximeter on any one of my fingers, or your finger for that matter, and I can get a reading of 96, 97, 98, 99. That's your blood oxygen saturation level. Okay, that does not mean how appropriately your cell is able to, number one, first of all, take the oxygen in, and then use it appropriately to make ATP and energy for the body in the mitochondria, which is what we're wanting the oxygen to do. There's to make us energy and to clean. So we measure the overall holistic body's ability to use oxygen. So when we do oxygen on the quantum device, that is what we're measuring. And you can often get a 97% oxygen reading on an oximeter, but you might get a 70 or a 65 reading on the quantum. That's because it's telling us, hey, wake up. You might have done something to oxygen through the nose or whatever to stimulate the blood oxygen saturation level, but how appropriately is your body using that oxygen? That's key. Because the minute you take that away, the body's left to its own devices again. Okay, so this is always very, very, very important. So something like a supercell oxygen with bee pollen is going to help your body assimilate oxygen, right? There's bacopa and things that will actually oxygenate the brain for you. Okay, so those products are very, very important. Let me just see what, okay, yeah, all right. So that's good. Talking about warding off radiation, Schizandra berry, unbelievable liver cleanse. It's better than milk thistle because it detoxifies the toxin off the liver receptor sites and carries them out. Right? Why we like iodine to come in with it is because the iodine will bind the receptor sites. So there's two things that clean the receptor sites. One is Schizandra berry and the other one is chlorella. So both of those are important to clean the liver, but both of those will ward off radiation. Chlorella, schizandra berry, and iodine, all three of them will help the body ward off radiation. So those must be in your toolkit. And we also have zeolite, paramagnetic rock dust. The very nature of it being paramagnetic, it is in the right electromagnetic spin. We have a left spin, a right spin, a positive and a negative. Volcanic rock dust is in the right spin. It's actually in the cosmic spin, by the way. So you are increasing your connection cosmically by consuming the rock dust. But at the same time, it's going to be absorbing the wrongly charged frequencies as well as the wrongly charged matter in our body, leaving the healthy body alone. We do no harm. Whatever we're doing, we do no harm. So definitely on a daily basis, zeolite. Okay. And you're wondering, well, how do I get all of this in? Well, imagine me. So sometimes I'm taking 10 doses a day of oxidants, and I'm taking sometimes 5 doses a day of ormus. And then that's 15 hours already. I'm sleeping as well, but then there's a window when I'm taking the schizandra berries, the zeolites, the supercell oxygen, all the antioxidants. Then there's a window for them as well. Okay, this is really, really leading edge, what I'm speaking to you about now. Okay. One of the big effects of these wavelengths is the body goes into a bit of a frenzy, to put it mildly. Okay, and as I said to you, the blood clots, it sticks together, and because the red blood cells become sticky, they lose their electromagnetic potential, which is called a zeta potential. They must have a zeta potential. When we look with the live blood microscope, the red blood cells must be apart. They must be gliding apart, not touching, because if they're touching, there's something wrong with the electromagnetic field, that outer field that's holding that red blood cell together. If they can touch, there's something wrong with the charge. It's unhealthy. So they must be all gliding around, not stuck together, not in a clump, not in a clot. So what are the products that help us keep the blood thin naturally? I'm not talking about synthetic pharmaceuticals. One of the most beautiful products is Triphala, which is a combination of 3 fruits with a very high enzyme concentration. So these enzymes will chomp up and clean up the blood, any protein fibers that are in the blood, clean up the stickiness, and condition the blood. It also conditions the gut, by the way, but we're using it to condition the blood. And another thing that this one will do, it will clean up, because of the enzymatic function, it will clean up the biofilm, which all the GM organisms, pathogenic organisms all live in. The bacteria, the fungi, the yeasts. So there's a biofilm. And this Triphala will dissolve the biofilm, which means that the herbal para-immunes, even the cell vitality oxygen, will come in and get at all the pathogens very quickly. And so Triphala's got to be in the toolkit. The other one which cleans the blood beautifully is echinacea. So we take both of those on a daily basis to keep the blood in check and clean. And another thing to get the blood clean, if you wake up in the morning and you take about 7 almonds, and eat them only, no liquid, nothing, just 7 nuts, 7 almonds, that will produce trypsin and chymotrypsin enzymes to be released automatically and go in and clean the blood for you. So that's what we're wanting to happen, because you find protein fibers, undigested protein fibers in the blood, which causes massive amounts of stickiness. See, so those two, the Triphala and the echinacea, are absolutely essential to blood conditioning. natural. Yes, and then the iodine and the cell vitality drops in the ormus will also improve that zeta potential, keep the blood from clotting. So that was what I wanted to share with you this evening, because these toxins are not going to go away, not in a hurry. By the way, we're using them now to communicate. So we want to use technology intelligently. We don't want to overdo it. We want to have an earthing mat near us. And I always show the earthing mat. All right. So we attach it via a little cable to the plug on the wall, which is only attached to the earth. So it makes no difference whether the plug is on or off, because we're not drawing current. But it's working with the earthing of the building, which is Sherman resonance. So when I'm working right now, you saw I slipped it out from underneath the tripod here. I'm on Sherman resonance. I can take my voltmeter anytime, and I can watch the needle spin. And then all I do is with just one of my little fingers touch the mat, and the voltage needle will move to 0. Sherman's resonance, 7.83 hertz. Okay, which is the earth frequency. And my body's happy with that, all right? Because I'm going to be at around about 10 hertz. We talked about that earlier. Slightly up from that, because I'm a little bit more positively charged than the earth. I don't want to be the same or less, all right? I want to be 10. All right, and then these little mats you can use in your car. We've got a little crocodile clip that you clip underneath the seat of your car onto a metal piece, because the car's earthed with the car's battery. And those of you that listen regularly to me, you know, you've all heard this, which is great. So we've got a little earthing pad. It's a 2-in-1. You get a mat and a little pad that comes together, and both pads are equally effective. It's just how you want to use it. And then in my bed, I've got also this size, and this is what I sleep on. And then where I work, and you can have it, at your favorite TV chair. You can put your feet on it. And then what you've done is you've created this electromagnetic field around yourself that's warding off the radiation that's coming at you. Absolutely beautiful. And this, by the way, is measurable on our quantum devices. On the QUEX and the SKIO, we can actually measure the before and afterwards. So that's what I bring to you. And I also bring to you the little EMF pendants that I also wear 24/7. Because this measurable too, the power hertzes, the radio waves, the microwaves, the cell waves, the gamma rays, the power tools, the extra low frequencies, geopathic stress frequencies, all improved in a week of wearing this little pendant. And there's also an option if people are interested to speak to me. So we've put my property on also a frequency grid, which is the same as the frequencies in here and more. So we put in frequencies which ward off pests, but encourage the butterflies and the bees and the wasps for pollination of the veggies, and ward off the tree bug borer and the rats and mice and things. It doesn't kill anything. They just don't like the frequency, so they don't come near. That's on that level too. And then also warding off the frequency. So that's what we have right now. We've got next week, we're launching an unbelievable new device. And I urge you to come in on Wednesday at 7 o'clock to our normal new immune series, 365 Healthy by Choice series, because we're going into the next level as well. But right here and now, we have what we have, and this is how we measure it, and this is how we get going. And, there's one product that I wanted to mention, and that's the RNA DNA replica, because this product is absolutely essential. Why? It contains the neuropeptides, which are the adenosine, cytosine, thymidine, guanine, and uracil. And of course, what we're seeing with our devices is an ever declining level concentration of these 5 nuclear proteins in our bodies because of the hammering and the body's having to use more. And where do you get it? Naturally, you'll get it in organs, heart, liver, brain. Those people that eat that, you'll get it a high concentration in beans, in a fermented Marmite bovril type of a spread. You'll get them, yes, wherever there's been yeast involvement, yeast or bacteria, natural yeast or bacteria involvement. These are what you call bacterial cell wall fragments in the right human genome coding. So these are really, really important, together with the almost gold, because if you walk through an X-ray machine, you can imagine the billions of cells that are dividing in that very moment. There's going to be snips and disturbances very quickly. So the almost will allow the DNA chain to unravel and wind up again slowly. But having these nuclear proteins readily available in the nucleus of the cell, we can then form an absolutely beautiful human genome going forward in time. So we will be the not the ancestors of an endangered species. We will be the ancestors of the authentic, original, organic human species, and that's my aim, really. on a level, that's really what I'm wanting to achieve for you and all of us, and to be stable and to think clearly and live productively. And the nutrients, you all know we've got the stress defense shield, the brain fuel, the extreme performance boost. We've got the Activa stem cells, and that's powerful. It's got the plant-based adult stem cell producing nutrients. Blue-green algae, I think I'm about the only one right now bringing this into South Africa, which is full of also neurotransmitters, GABA, serotonin, dopamine, PEA. Blue-green algae is critical for the brain and for stem cells. We've got lion's mane in there, also critical for brain stem cells, and the stem cells via the white blood cell. And it's got cordyceps, medicinal mushroom, foti, and royal jelly. So I would say that's our crowning glory regarding the adult stem cells. The stress defense shield and the others have got more than 30 nutrients as well as stress adaptogens. So you can take your pick there regarding bringing the nutrients, and those nutrients are of such a high frequency that they encourage very clear thinking, stimulate imagination, intuition, inspiration. And together with the almost gold, it's you really are in a very much enchanted space. Shall I put it that way? Very grounded, completely grounded, enchanted, knowledgeable space connected to the morphogenic field, the universal field. So I haven't seen any questions. I trust that you have been listening carefully to what I've been saying, which is fantastic. Let me just get to the chat. Any questions? We've got Facebook people joining us as well. Just adding some of you. Hi. So nice to see some of you. That's great. So I think that gives you a lot more juicy information. I think it's always useful when we've got a tangible vision of wavelengths, waveforms, what a radiation thing is. And, we've been talking in the little hertzes. Now imagine what a gigahertz, 1 gigahertz does. Imagine what a 2 gigahertz does, 3 gigahertz, 4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz. It's an absolute toxic onslaught onto a biological being. Never mind the plants, never mind the animals, never mind the little microbes. So let's all use the technology very wisely and give ourselves a break, to reset. By the way, our human body, I think it's every 90 seconds, is searching for our GPS, and we're not on the ground. I know some people that haven't touched the ground in 6 months. That's how bad it is. And they don't have an earthing mat or a pendant or anything like that. So, if we're talking about human resonance, bioresonance, and the morphogenic field, we have to be in sync. Like my chickens, 24/7, they are in a circadian rhythm. Their feet are on the ground permanently. They're barefoot, those chickens, all right? And they know at 5:45, come rain, wind, or shine, they will get on that perch. They will not get off. They won't eat. They know they can't eat. They know it's toxic to eat after that. And then 3:30 in the morning, they start waking up as the earth starts waking up. So they are in total sync. They don't want the electricity on. They want black. And they will be in that sync with the earth. And that's a protection mechanism too. We've got another rhythm, the serotonin, melatonin hormones. From 10 o'clock at night, if the room is dark, the melatonin gets secreted until 2 o'clock. And that's when we do the deep REM, dreaming, the deep sleep, and the deep cleansing, and the deep relaxation of the nervous system, and the building of the immune system. Now, if you've got your cell phone next to you and the light on, and a base phone next to you, and the lamp next to you, and we talked about this before, plug behind your head, you're in an electromagnetic field that's literally you getting nuked. You're getting bathed in the wrong frequencies, the wrong waveforms, 24/7. So the choice is always ours. And with these Jane Live Miracle Medicine 365 Healthy by Choice live shows, it just gives me that opportunity to share amongst many and not have to answer so many WhatsApp calls. That's lovely. So great. Yeah, Vanessa saying she wishes we were conditioned as the chickens. Vanessa, it's our choice. All of this is our choice right now. We can stay on this treadmill, we can stay on this path, or we can say, you know what, I've had enough now. I'm actually going to really be authentically true to myself, true to my connection, the knowledge that needs to come through to me, and, live in that new, the new dimensional space, whatever it might be. We are in interdimensional beings anyway. Good. So just thanks for coming in on Facebook with us. I'm glad I got it together. And I'll also be posting the recording on our groups. Anyone wanting to join our group, please just leave me a message on Facebook or on my WhatsApp, and I'll add you gladly. All right. All the best. Thank you so much. Bye for now. See you next week at 7 p.m. on Wednesday for the new immune series, and then again at 7 p.m. on Thursday. If you miss it, I'll record it. And if you want any of the back recordings, just go to the Jane McKenzie YouTube, and there really are, it's becoming hundreds now, so it's great. Thank you for listening. Always an honor. Always just so special to have all of you here with us. Thank you very much. Lovely.